Welcome, everybody. We are here to talk about two things. We just got back from the World Championship, have a little bit of a head cold. You know, that just happens. Two things. I got an extra reel code. I'm going to put it on Twitter today in terms of a giveaway, retweets, likes, and all that. So I'll put it in the description below on X, I guess. I don't know. So check that out. I'll leave it up for probably about a week, and then I'll give that away. Number two, I want to talk about the 5 things we learned at the World Championship. Sorry, there hasn't been a lot of videos, obviously. Was working a lot, long days, long nights. You know how it is. So 5 things that we have learned at this World Championship. Number 5, let's get it going with pre-shows are a must-watch. You got to come in. You got to come in early. You got to get the butts in the seats and watch our talented boys and girls doing pre-shows. We had Chiefs doing plenty of telestrator segments. We had T-Bates doing T-Bates things, and we'll get to him in a second. But we have a good time. Play some games, have some fun. And it's a good time to just have some light-hearted conversation about Rocket League in general. So definitely go check them out in the future when we have them. And if you watch them live, you could get great moments like this. Let's check it out. Everyone knows what's coming, but we got to show it. We got to do it.
A little late, but it's okay. AJG's on the back wall. I just want to credit him right here. Y'all see him? Oh, no!
It gets me every time.
He's all right, Chad. He's okay, but he did fall down. And
All right. Don't worry, Chad. We're perfectly fine. AJG, he's got a circle.
Who falls at the World
for a reason.
Championship?
I just want to compliment him. He made an absolutely big play when he needed it.
A little bit like
tough,
you,
look,
Look at the boost. Look at
it's
the
a tough
boost like
spot.
lines.
I know he already preached on it. Play.
All right, we'll leave it there for T-Bates. Oh, man. So a little context to that. The reason why I was so delayed is I'm doing telestrator for him, so I have to draw circles or lines or whatever. So I'm focusing on that. I hear, oh, no! And then I hear everyone laughing, and I look up and I look at our monitors because it'll show what's on camera. And I just don't see T-Bates. And I'm like, where did he go? So then I turn around and I see him on the ground and I just start dying. So the reason why he tripped a little inside baseball, I guess, was we have all our headsets and a lot of our tech was in boxes that were at the back of the screen under a black like curtain, basically. So the reason why he falls so slowly because he didn't want to damage anything that was back there, and he forgot it was there at the time. So that's why he tries to like topple over it and not actually hit it, because he probably wouldn't have fallen if it was just a normal box or whatever. So hats off to T-Bates protecting the equipment, and hats off for one of the greatest moments in World Championship history. Somehow he pulled it off. So let me get me to the next topic. Topic number 4. We're going to move on. 4, basically less upsets are happening throughout this year, and that is a trend that has happened from the start of this year to the end of the year. Basically, the last 2 days of Rocket League action we had, or yeah, I guess the last 2 days, I went a perfect 12 for 12 in my picks, and I'm not trying to like say I'm great or anything. It was just, it came down to, I was just like, we haven't seen an upset yet. So at this point, I'm going to play for the fact that we're just going to get favorites to win it all. I think the only games where you could have said either one was a favorite, like a 50-50 coin toss, is probably K-Corp Vitality and the final Vitality BDS. Those are probably the only 2. But in terms of an actual like upset, someone that like is expected to lose and then they do, we basically had none in the main event. The hard part was trying to know where some teams landed. Like main event teams, like how are Ninjas looking? How is FaZe looking? You know, things like that. So there's some unknown, but even like Ninjas, I think most people expected Crew to be better than them. They were. FaZe, most people had them just bowing out early. They did. It was like a very expected thing. And this continued, which I put in previous videos of like the number 1 seeds won every single tournament this year outside the World Championship. World Championship, technically, Vitality was a 2 seed. So Vitality were still the favorites by a large margin as well for this tournament. So basically the only time like I would say the favorites didn't win, like the overall favorite was probably Gen.G and Fall, because you'd probably give it to an EU team. And then like K-Corp. And then probably K-Corp and Winter, but that one's like barely, because it was like you probably would have gave it to Gen.G as favorites now because they won the first one. But it was very, very close. But they were still number 1 seeds, and like we're just not seeing upsets. It seems like teams are just getting better and better and not throwing away games. So we'll see if that continues. Hopefully it doesn't, because honestly it leads to less exciting Rocket League. And I think this was probably an outlier. But yeah, we're seeing teams that are favorites just winning things. And maybe that's just because the French 3 are that good. We had another video about them where they were expected to win like 80 to 90% likely to win this tournament. And guess what? The 3 best teams in the tournament were all of the French 3. So we're just not seeing it, which is kind of strange. Moving on, number 3, we're going to talk about CJCJ. CJCJ is a great caster, and it just infuriates me. He's just too good at everything. He came into it, he got a grand finals cast. It was supposed to be Johnny Boy, but he was ill. So we had to make some last-minute corrections to like the rotation. So it was in the works, like he was going to be the backup anyway and all that stuff. But just to see his meteoric rise from when he first got brought up to the talent team, he was supposed to be desk talent. And then he was just too good at casting to not let him cast. So we're like, all right, fine. He can cast. We'll have our 4th rotating chair still on the desk. But he's done a fantastic job. And even in that grand finals, that was a 4-0 stomp. He still put out one of the most iconic calls we have ever heard in the Rocket League esports scene. So let's play that one right now.
Tries to get the flipper dose and just fakes it out, leaves it for the man, the magician, the superstar. It's the signature shot!
That's so good. That's so good.
Watch it! Love it! You're all living in it! There on the back.
So good, so good. All right, let's go back to Cam. But like the signature shot, like it might be a little bit hard to hear exactly those words coming out, but if you know what the words are, it's perfect. But that's also sometimes the mics and all that. But it's like to get that call in his first grand finals, in his first year of casting, it's just nuts. And it's just not fair. And CJCJ, a very, very talented individual. So I want to give him all the props I can. Love seeing that kid grow throughout this year. And honestly, he didn't need any of our help. He's just that good. So hats off to him. Hopefully that audio was pretty good in there. If not, I'll link it in the description below, the CJCJ call on that shot, because it was fantastic. Moving on, number 2, Mina and Sam deserve more. Last year was kind of an outlier. It was still very dominated by NA and EU. Like main event came out, NA and EU got extra teams there from the wild card. Mina really didn't. Sam really didn't. So it was like, okay, we don't really need to change spots, right? But this year, the best part, or one of the best parts of the World Championship to me, is that wild card of like, how do these regions play against one another to see how it all fares, right? And Mina showed that, they look pretty good versus those bottom regions. They got 3 teams to the main event when they only had 1 in major contention. So they could only have had a maximum of 3 at a main event, and they got the maximum there. Sam got 3 teams as well to the main event. So kudos to them. They also, their max could have been technically 4, but that would have been very, very difficult to get Sam 1 and 2 into the top 8 at majors. So a realistic maximum of 3, and they got it there. Then OC had 0. APAC and SSA had 0. And then NA and EU had 4. And I think that's all of them. Did I miss someone? Or 5, I mean. Yeah, they had 5. So at the end of the day, this was the first year that they're really going to apply pressure onto Psyonix of like, these major spots got to change, right? Like if the majors are the same and all that, who knows what's coming. But if it is, there is major pressure that Mina and Sam deserve more spots, especially Mina. But Sam is still in that argument too of like the writing's on the wall, So we'll see what happens there. But they did prove what they needed to prove in that wild card. They did a fantastic job. Mina, they even got a top 8 as well. Credits to the Falcons there. So we'll see what happens, but it's not a good time to be an OC fan. I very much doubt we would lose a spot for OC. But honestly, like if they did lose a spot, you can't really argue it. You can't really argue to have them keep a spot. So it's kind of weird. Like I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But Mina and Sam, well done throughout this tournament. They proved that they are the third and fourth best regions, maybe even tied with NA at times. It just depends on who you're asking and who counts as an NA team. But credit to them. Number 1, Zen and Radosin are him. Simple as that. Radosin did not win the MVP. Little inside baseball in the MVP voting. I was the only one to put Radosin as my MVP. Everyone else had Zen, so I'm like, yeah, what can you do? Not everyone voted as well, because once you see a lopsided vote, like people are busy. They're just like, all right, cool. Zen's going to win it. But either one, whatever. That's not a huge deal. Like, I think Zen is very quality for that MVP. It makes a lot of sense. It's kind of hard to differentiate, like, the game plan is like give Zen the ball more often than not, or Zen will be around the ball more often than not. He's going to have more score per game and all that. But Radosin, what he was doing was very effective against every single team, especially early on in the tournament. And so that's where I can kind of see the argument too for Zen of like, well, the last half of K-Corp and all of BDS, Zen put on a show, right? So I'm like, fair enough. And those are the important games. But either way, they set more records than you think. Obviously, they won a world championship, but they have surpassed the number 1 player in world championship 3v3 game participation or win percentage, I should say. So Extra was actually number 2. He said that like 74% from last year's world championship. It was like 74.1%. And sadly, they passed. So those 2 players, not Alpha, because he's been at other world championships. But sadly, they did pass the greatest player to ever play this game. And that is myself. I was the highest win percentage of the world championship at 75% games won. We did a show match back in season 4? 3? I can't remember. Where me, Kurnovi, and Sad Jr. took on JamesBot, Rizzo, and oh my God, I can't remember the wrestler's name off the top of my head. Austin Creed, I think is the name. I could be way off. No, I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, it's Xavier Woods. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So I couldn't think of him. But we won 3-1, so I had a 75% game win percentage at World Championship lands in 3v3. It's not technically part of the World Championship, but I'm on stage. I'm counting it. So sadly, I moved to number 3 for now. I bet I'll catch back up. But Alpha and Radosin, they move into the number 1 spot, tied at 80% game win rate percentage. Kudos to them. I hate you, but I love you at the same time. What a fantastic World Championship it was. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions or you want me to make any videos about certain things about the World Championship, let me know. We're going to be doing some more fun videos. We'll probably start doing some Gamers 8 stuff as well. To get you ready for that tournament. So still getting over a little bit of a sickness, so we'll see how this goes. This might be the only video this week. I might have one on Friday. I'm not sure. Look out on Twitter again. A reminder for the code, the real code, retweet, like, and all that stuff. Like here as well and do all that fun stuff. So that's it for me. We'll catch you next time. Later.